Hello and welcome to another episode of Toothless MMA's radio series Quick Hitters. I'll be your host, John Galloway, and today, as we look at the world of combat sports, I'll be joined by my guest, Walel Watson. Walel, John Galloway, Toothless MMA, how's it going today?
I'm doing great, John. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. So, Walel, you have a fight coming up a couple weeks in September 26th in Cedar Park, Texas for Titan Fighting Championships 30. Why don't you tell me about how that fight came about?
My fight coming up for Titan Fighting Championships 30, September 26th, came about literally right after my fight back in May 16th, I believe, when I fought William Joplin. And after my victory, I'm walking around in the casino, and I see a tweet from Sharkbait. And in the tweet, it says that he's not impressed with my technique, that I'm easy money. So after that, we were just going back and forth with each other online, talking smack, whatever. But, you know, I'm ready for this fight. You know, I think you picked the wrong guy to call weak. Because my technique is far from weak. And that's awesome that he thinks that. That means he's going to have his guard down against me. He's not going to be taking me with the full respect that he should.
So any animosity or any back and forth that we see between you guys isn't just to hype up the fight. There's actual bad blood brewing here.
I mean, for me, it's taking care of business. It's another day in the office. You know, he can get personal. He can talk all the trash. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to talk back. I'm never going to let nobody just punk me, you know, put the chest out in front of my face, and I'm just going to sit there and take it. I'm going to talk back, but it didn't rile my blood up at all whatsoever. If anything, it's letting me know how scared he is. Because if you got to talk ill of somebody, that means you're afraid of that person. You've got to convince yourself that that person is less than you, that you're stronger than him. So you got to talk smack to convince that stuff. Me, I just told him, I'll see you. I'll see you September 26th. Don't worry about it, brother. If you want to fight me, you got me.
So, Walel, let's take me back here. So, how did you get started with MMA? Where are your roots here?
My roots really just come from street fighting. I played football my whole life, you know, and I was always too small. So I played junior college after my 2 years and 2.5 years junior college. It came to National Signing Day. Everybody got picked up to a school except for me. You know, I weighed 144 pounds on a good day at that time, and that just wasn't going to cut it as far as a Division I football player. You know, when you got your 190-pound, at least 170-pound prototype athletes that are just crushing it. I didn't have that. You know, I was fast, I was tall, but at 140-something pounds, I would get blasted. In every college game and semi-pro game I ever played, I would spend a quarter on the bench, hurt. I'm getting blasted by somebody. Yeah, every game, bam, I'm out for a whole quarter before my body could recover from a hit like that. And finally, I started being like, you know what, maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't be playing football. But I was stubborn. I stuck with it. And what really got me off of it was my boy, Robert Peralta, who's in the UFC right now. He was already fighting at the time. He already been fighting for like 3 years. And he knew I was like going through this little struggle with the whole football scene. And he knew from growing up with me that I liked to fight. It was something that was, you know, it was in my blood. So he told me to come out to one of his practices one day. And at the time, he was training in a garage. So I just went to this garage, and it was just like Fight Club. You know what I mean? Everybody just beating the shit out of each other. And I was hooked. I was like the first time I went in there, I got beat up. I fell in love with it immediately. And I knew this is what I was going to do the rest of my life.
So you never had a traditional route such as wrestling or a base as boxing or Muay Thai. You from day one came into this as a true mixed martial artist. Is that correct?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, I didn't box. I didn't wrestle. I didn't do any of that stuff. One thing I did growing up was playing football, basketball, baseball, and I ran track. You know, I didn't get to do any combat sports like I wanted to. My parents were always like, "Oh, that's barbaric. We're not going to put our kids in stuff like that." You know, not knowing that it could have benefited me from the time I was little. You know, could have taught me more discipline, develop my body better, develop all kinds of athleticism that maybe could have played into football. Who knows? You know, but I'm happy where I'm at right now, so I got no complaints whatsoever.
That's it. Everything leads to where you are right now. So now, once
yes, sir.
Once you went pro, you went through a couple of regional and smaller organizations, but then you landed in the UFC. How did that happen? How did Dana and how did the UFC pick you up?
It really should have. There's a guy of the U.S. fighting in the, all the way at the tip. I was fighting in Tijuana out there, where you're not really getting a lot of publicity, and they were on me. They had their scouts out. They were kind of aware of who I was already, and literally, right when I signed the Tachi Palace, like a month later, I get a message from Sean Shelby on Facebook. It's his number, and he's like, "Call me right now." And I look at the message, and it's like 4 days old. And I was like, what the? I was like, but then part of me was like, it's probably a lie. Like, I didn't think it was real either. I was like, yeah, right. Like, why would he contact me? Wouldn't he contact the gym or my coach? You know, I'm thinking, like, this is bullshit. It's some guy trying to mess with my emotions right now, get me all riled up, and then he's going to tell me some other shit. So I told my coach, I was like, I think Sean Shelby is hitting me up on Facebook. I think it's a joke. And he goes, yeah, right, is there a number there? I'm like, yeah. He's like, call it. He goes, what do you have to lose? So I called it, and then we had a brief conversation. He found out that I would sign Itachi. He was going to have me come in and do like a last minute fight. But he was like, you know what? You already got a commitment. You got a fight coming up. He's like, finish your obligations. Keep in touch with me. Call me, and we'll go from there, you know? So I was super stoked to get that call. I ended up going to that fight in Tachi, and I unfortunately lost that fight. So right away I was thinking, like, I'm off the radar, for at least for a while, until I get 5, 6, 7 wins racked up again. Then maybe I'll pop back up on the radar.
Right.
So I fought immediately after that loss. I fought right away. Boom. I fought again, and it was for a belt in Mexico, and I won. I fought against a guy who was 7-3. His name is Ishmael Leon. He's now my teammate, actually. But we were from different schools at the time, and we fought for the belt, and I beat him. And then I jumped on the phone and I called Sean Shelby, and I was like, does it help that I own 2 belts? Because at that point I was a champion of 2 shows in Mexico. Would that help get me back in the show? And he laughed, and he was like, we don't care about belts, bro. It's about your record, you know?
Right.
And I was like, well, I seen you guys are coming to Mexico this year. It was like back in 2000. I see you guys are coming to Mexico for a fight. I was like, I think I should be on the undercard, because I own both of the belts to the best organizations here. So I think I'd bring a good crowd. I've been fighting down here for 2 years. I have a good following. I just want to be on the undercard. He's like, okay. I was like, huh? Oh, shit. Said okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So I get off the phone. I'm like, he said okay to my coach. And he's like, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't know. I think that means we're in. So like, it was like a mystery still in the air. And then a week later, he calls me, and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, eating dinner. And I'm like, oh, I'm just eating dinner. He's like, all right, do you have anything coming up in the next 5 weeks? I'm like, no. He goes, you want to fight? I'm like, hell yeah. I didn't even ask who. I didn't ask. I'm like, hell yeah. He's like, welcome to the UFC. I'll send your contract right now. And that was it. I was in.
Awesome. Now, your first fight, you won TKO through punches. After that, you had a little bit of a rough patch, going 0-3. But you fought big guys. You fought, current title holder TJ Dillashaw, Mitch Gagnon, Yves Jaban. So you didn't lose to the nobodies in the divisions. You lost to some of the top guys. But you made an exit, and then you've been picking up some more wins along the road here. How did Titan come to find you now?
I guess through my manager, Lex McMahon. He works with Titan. He's got a bunch of fighters that fight for Titan, and I got a text 7 o'clock in the morning from him, and he's like, "Here's the contract from Titan. You want to fight for him?" I'm like, again, hell yeah. Like, I don't got read. If you telling me that you want me to fight, I'm gonna say hell yeah every time. You know, and that's why I'm glad I have coaches and a manager. Because if somebody calls my phone and offers me a fight, I'll take every fight. I'll fight it. I don't care what weight class. I'll fight you because that's what I do. You know what I mean? I'm a fighter. That's what I call myself. If I call myself a fighter, I have to be ready to fight on any given notice against anybody. Size, it don't matter. I can't be like, oh, I got you. No. You offer me the fight, I'll take that fight. So that's why I'm glad I have management now.
Nice. Now, you won your initial fight for Titan, submission by rear naked choke. And again, you have the fight coming up September 26th against Anthony Gutierrez. Now, how do you see this fight going? What do you see on video or on tape or previous fights that you've seen of his? What do you see as your opening to win this fight?
I mean, honestly, I don't see anything that guy could do. You know what I mean? Like, everything Anthony's doing, I used to do it. It's like looking at a young Walel back in the day. You know, making a lot of green mistakes, things like that. You know, that's why it's funny that, you know, he made fun of my technique, but I'm looking at him, and he ain't looking like some world-class master. He be talking about anybody, you know what I'm saying? I really don't feel he's going to beat me in any aspect. He wants to kickbox, well, guess what? He's going to get kickboxed up. He wants to wrestle, guess what? He's going to get wrestled up. He wants to go to the ground, that's my world. You know, if we hit the ground, the fight's over.
Yeah, you're very comfortable on the ground. Brown belt from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. Obviously a big name in the submission fighting game. Talk about coming out of a camp like that and what it does for your confidence.
I mean, when you're coming out of a camp like 10th Planet and you got nothing but killers around you, everybody's so talented, so good, coming up with new techniques on the regular. Like, I'm just really blessed to be with a team like that. You know, Richie Martinez, Giovanni Martinez, being there with Eddie Bravo. It's amazing. Those guys are just they've taken my mind and they've just like spun it around or inflated it and made it bigger and smarter. Like, I just think so much better on the ground now. My transitions are so crazy and smooth. And like I said, when you're in practice and you're getting tapped out a bunch of time by these killers, you're going to do it back to other people that aren't on your team, that aren't in practice with you, training 3 times a day with these killers like I am, man. These guys are just monsters right now, monsters, and they're making me a monster.
Yeah, and it shows in your record. Of the 12 wins that you have professionally, 9 of them come by way of submission. So clearly this is something that is a strength for you and something that you can rely on if the fight does go to the ground. Now, coming out of the fight without looking past him and without looking past any fight, where do you see yourself with Titan in a year, in 2 years? Where do you see your run going here with Titan fighting?
I mean, like you said, I don't ever look past the fighter. I don't like to go too far ahead because that's when, you know, you slip up and you lose your eye on the prize, you know. But if I'm still with Titan, I see myself as a champion, the 135 champ, holding that belt, defending that belt. Ain't nobody gonna take that belt from me if I get that belt.
Now, Anthony, the guy you're fighting, he is 23. You're 30. Do you think age is going to play a factor in this fight?
Not so much. You know, I just turned 30. I don't feel like I'm 30. I feel like I'm 16. You know what I mean? I still act young, do everything the same. I eat a healthy diet. I train all day, every day. My body's in great shape. I'm strong. If anything, I should have the grown man strength on my side, opposed to him still having the little boy strength. You know what I mean? If that's the only advantage I see happening. You know what I mean? Other than that, I don't see the age thing being too much of a factor at all.
Nice. Now, going into the fight, companies along the way that have helped you out, companies that help you during training camps and outside of training camps, why don't you give them a quick shout out? Who's helping you? Who's sponsoring you?
Oh, definitely. I want to thank Steel Hanks Fight Gear. They're an awesome jiu-jitsu company. They've got some of the best rash guards, best designs you could ever come up with. Elusive Combat Gear. It's another company that they create everything for MMA, headgear, shin guards, gloves, boxing gloves. They have shirts, hoodies, whatever you need. Fresh Coast Cuts, you know, one of the best barbers in San Diego. They're over there located on Rosecrans. For those of you that are from San Diego, you know where Rosecrans is. Come on through. And my boy, man, Full Force Fit with the Aztec cleanse, that has changed my life. It has made weight cutting so much easier for me. So much easier.
Excellent. Now, if people can't get out to Cedar Park on the 26th to see the fight and they don't get a chance to see it on CBS, where can they follow you on social media, Twitter, Facebook, so they can keep up with how that fight went and then even beyond to see what you got going on and what's keeping you busy?
Cool. For the social media, if you're trying to find out what's going on with Titan FC 30, September 26th, just look me up on Twitter, YL the Gazelle, or you can look me up on Facebook, YL Gazelle, or on Instagram, Gazelle Watson. And I'm posting daily times that we're fighting, the plays, I'm posting the poster, all that good stuff. And you'll be able to catch my fight 8 o'clock Pacific time, I believe, on CBS.
Excellent. And that's YL. It's WALEL. Make sure you don't make the same mistake I made. That's going to wrap up another episode of Toothless MMA's radio series Quick Hitters. I'd like to extend a big thank you to today's guest for joining us. For Walel Watson, this is John Galloway, and we are tapping out.